Okay, what are we going to be doing today? We're going to be wiring up this exhaust. Like I told you guys, this is a valve control exhaust through GT Haas themselves. So what we have to do is we have to wire it up. What does that involve? A bunch of wires and vacuum lines. Let's see what we got in the box. So we got vacuum lines for the left and right. Looks like we got a wiring harness. We got some type of solenoid. We have fittings and hoses. We have the actual control box with the remote. We got a power wire, and we got instructions. So I started to read the instructions on how to install this because it's not electric, it's controlled through vacuum. So that being said, is we need a vacuum source. Now the good thing is that's not an issue on this car because we already have a vacuum block. So I have plenty of ports to use. Now, what I was trying to figure out, because this is a solenoid right here, is this solenoid has blue vacuum lines going to exhaust valves. I don't want blue lines in the engine bay because it's just going to be an eyesore and it's just going to throw everything off. I'm actually going to install this solenoid in here because there's a cover that's going to cover it. You won't be able to see it. Now, exactly what we did with the boost solenoid is I used one of the previous hoses that this car already came with. It just had a clip in it to install that. We're doing the same exact thing for the vacuum line. So I have one vacuum line that's going to the vacuum block that's going to supply the vacuum source. It's going to utilize a hole that's already on the car so we don't have to drill any holes. And it's going to go right inside of this little cubby hole. We're going to wire everything up here. There's going to be one harness getting connected to this, and that's going to go to the wireless box that we're probably going to run inside of the car. And then, of course, we got to run our blue lines to the exhaust valves, and then everything's going to be covered. So it's actually going to that hole right down there. And it's actually coming through right where the fender liner is. So I don't know if I can show you guys, but it's going right there, right from the fender liner. And I get to run it all the way back. And remember, since we are adding a top mount single turbo, there's only going to be a one exit. So there's a one exit coming from the passenger side all the way to the mid pipe, and then it splits off. So this whole driver's side is free to run whatever I want to run. So one thing we do have to do is install this check valve. So since the vacuum source is coming from the vacuum block, it has a little arrow on here where you have to put it. So we have to install it like this so that it flows one way. Because imagine getting that back pressure from the manifold, that would not be good. So here's how we have it set up so far. So again, vacuum line going in with the check valve going into the solenoid. This is going to be the exhaust, so this is going to vent atmosphere. Then we have the exhaust valves line going down. And then we have, of course, the harness that gets connected to the wireless module. So right now we're going to run the vacuum lines back to connect to the exhaust valves, and then we'll come back and we'll take care of the wire with running it inside and connecting it to the wireless module. So I'm going to run the module inside of the car because I do not want to get put in that predicament where I'm pressing the button and it's not doing anything because it doesn't have good enough signal or like just anything of that sort. So to eliminate all of those possibilities, I'm just going to put the wireless module inside of the box. In all reality, I don't know how good it works. It could be top of the line, but I don't want to wait till I'm done routing it and I decide to put it outside to realize that it's not the greatest. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying it's good, I'm not saying it's bad, but I'm just going to put it inside to eliminate all possibilities. And just like that, we have the vacuum lines ran. Dude, this exhaust looks so good. So we got that valve and this valve connected. I have actually this valve running over here, so it goes kind of like one line, even though it's two separate lines, but it's going one way. Then I have it going up where the rear subframe's at, and then it goes right over here where the drive shaft's at, and then it goes into that black panel, because I try to hide as much as I can, so it goes into that black panel, and then it comes out of the black panel up there, and it goes right where the fender liner is, and it goes up where the engine bay is at. So all that's left to do is plug in this wireless module. Shouldn't be too hard. This harness plugs into the solenoid right here, and then there's a grommet right here that leads inside the car that I'm gonna try to run this harness through into the car, and I'll just grab power at the cigarette lighter. But this thing comes with two remotes, which is cool. I wish these remotes were black, honestly. Let me see. Oh wow. Actually pretty cool quality, not gonna lie. I thought it'd be a little bit more cheesy. No, it's actually pretty cool. And then the module itself right here. It's weird. I'm surprised it doesn't come with like some antenna sticking out of it. I don't know, guys. We'll see if this is the top of the line stuff right here. So we got the harness going through that grommet, just as I explained. It's coming through the dash. Well, underneath the dash. I have the box mounted right underneath this dash right here. So when I press that button, there should be no delay because it's sitting right there, right? No excuses. And then I have that power wire ran on this side. and then it's wired into the cigarette lighter connector right there. So we have officially wired in the exhaust. That's it, we're done. And last but not least, now it's time to move on to the gauges to complete this whole single turbo install. So before actually getting started on the gauges, we are going to test the exhaust to make sure that it works. As you guys know, this battery is shot, so we need a battery pack to actually give us power inside this car. So we're gonna plug it up, and then we're gonna make sure that the exhaust works. So obviously we can't test it because we can't start the car, but at least we could hear like the valve open and close.
Go ahead. Yeah. Tell me when you press the button though. Yeah, I hear it. Go ahead. It's open already. Close it. I heard it open though.
Can't even hear it. Oh wait, maybe you can.
No, I heard it like a bzzz.
Yeah.
It's getting.
Oh wait, you know what? There's no vacuum pressure.
Oh, so only worked the
Yeah,
close.
because it's controlled through vacuum. All right, so that was a complete fail. So basically how this works, it works off of vacuum pressure. Since the car is off, there's no vacuum pressure, so it has no power to move anything, any valve within the exhaust. So
all we'll be able to tell is how loud the car gets.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not gonna be able to hear it.
Exactly. So we are now gonna move on to the gauges. So here's the thing with these gauges, guys. There's two ways we can go about doing this. Either remove the whole entire dash, or you break these gauges to get them out. So just kind of explain it. So Nissan thought it was a very, very brilliant and smart idea to link all these gauges together. So underneath this dash, there's like a bar or like some plastic thing that goes across all of these gauges that allows you to not remove them one by one. So in order to remove them intact, you have to remove this whole dash. Or you can break them. And today we're gonna break these gauges to get them out because I'm not removing this dash to take these gauges out. Nor am I getting a gauge pod, nor am I screwing into this, nor am I putting them in here. We're gonna put them right in the factory location. So I guess we're gonna do a hack job today. But in the end, it's gonna look good. It's not really gonna be a hack job because we're gonna make sure it looks nice and neat. But what I mean by hack is we're gonna have to break them piece by piece to get them out. So first we gotta start by, we're gonna take this off. This is not hard at all. Just take this off because obviously once we get these gauges out, we're gonna have to run the wires up there. So we're gonna start by taking this off. Pretty simple. There's 2 screws on this side. Take this panel off. 2 screws on this side. Take this panel off. And then 2 screws for this, and then this just pops off. So we are literally breaking this one by one. So first we gotta kind of take off the hood. That's what it looks like with the clips inside. Yeah. It's stupid though because like the clips on the back and then the sides kind of clip on to the side. So you have to break it immediately. So we got the hoods off. Now we're trying to utilize these again. So we're trying to like carefully take them off. But the good thing is like there's the silver ring is what we want to reuse, but this black piece, that's what it's clipped onto. So like we have to break it off just to get it off. So like I said, this is literally, we're gonna have to break these gauges one by one to get them out because I'm not removing the whole dash. Oh. It don't matter, bro. The only thing I need is the silver thing, yeah. So that's all that matters.
Alright, see this one, that the clear thing actually stay?
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter.
Just leave it. It doesn't matter.
This is just to get the silver ring out. You hear those noises? This one's manhandling. Oh, well.
As long as I got my ring.
This is a perfect example of what you need to do.
Yep. Oh. As long as we got this ring intact, that's all that matters.
Oh my God.
Everything else is gonna have to break.
Alright, well, no saving these things.
Oh well. We're almost there. Almost there. Ooh, got plastic flying everywhere. That's why you kind of have it stuffed. That way it doesn't like go down there, cause a rattle. Even though we're probably gonna have a rattle.
Bro, it's almost up.
Just like that. That was the last piece. And there goes my stock gauges. Actually, I think I'm gonna go back to stock. Look at all those pieces, guys.
Oh, there's still.
And it's all because
we broke the screw. Oops.
Yeah, we need it anyways. And that's all because I didn't want to remove the dash. My thing is because
all that work when you get to.
Yeah, I don't want to create problems trying to install this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, imagine like I'm trying to remove the steering wheel and then something goes wrong. I got to fix that, and then it prolongs. Like, I don't know. I don't want to deal with that. So rather just break the gauges, get it over with. Because the thing is, with removing the dash, it's never going to go on as it did. I only know it's because of experience. So now we got all 3 gauges out. We vacuumed because, of course, there was some plastic that got slipped by the towels. So all 3 gauges are out. What we're going to do, because this is a stock harness for the gauges, I'm going to try to modify, I think, Chris, oh no, it's right here. I'm going to try to modify this harness so that when we wire up the new gauges, it'll be like a plug and play ordeal. So these are the gauges that we have. We have a boost gauge, AFR gauge, and oil temp gauge. Of course, there's going to be a lot of modification in this. So we're going to figure this out, and then we'll let you guys know how it gets done. Because right now we have no idea how we're going to modify it. It's honestly going to be trial and error.
These things are pretty big. Where's that? If this is not clean, bro. Oh, never mind.
Dang.
Bro.
Dang.
Where's the other one? I couldn't find the third one. Bro, there's a spider on here hanging. I was like,
hell, you did that. It must have happened when you got it.
where's this going to? Oh shit. I don't even know where that went.
Oh, it's over there in front of my dad's truck.
Okay,
Alright guys, so we left off very abruptly yesterday, only because some things did not go as planned. So right away, I'll show you guys that we have the gauges in. We'll get in here and show you. Let me turn this light on so we have some sort of light. So the gauges are in, but if you notice, that one right there looks a little foggy. So to explain it, what happened? So these little silver rings we actually reuse from the stock gauges, right? So what we did was we actually super glued them onto the gauge themselves. And again, I'll explain it a little bit further in detail once I get it apart so you guys kind of understand what we had to do. Long story short, super glue got on this face right here. I tried to clean it, didn't really work. Tried to use goof off, that didn't work at all. So I had to sand it down. But the thing is, I sanded it down, but I did not know how to shine the plastic back up. So here we are. So that actually took a lot of time yesterday. I was trying to fix it and I failed. So I have a fix coming in for it. So we'll get that taken care of. But today we are going to worry about wiring it up because we already got them in. The gauges are in. We just have to worry about running the wires to them. So as I take it apart to run the wires back there, I will show you guys what we had to do to mount these gauges. The top hats actually come off like that. We haven't secured that yet, obviously, because it's not set in stone yet. We do have to run the wires. So here's what we had to do. See if you guys can follow this. So this is what I like to call the skeleton. We had to take this off from the actual factory gauges. Do not break this. If you guys are doing this yourselves, do not break this. You do need this. So what we did is we took a bracket, and I'm trying to explain this without having to take it apart because of the fact that it's already in there, so I don't want to take it out because then this one gave us trouble a little bit yesterday, so I don't really want to take it out, but I can see if I can explain it. So this is the skeleton, right? You do need this. What we did is we took a bracket. So I call it a back strap, but I believe it's called like a hurricane bracket or something like that. What you do is you drill a hole through that hurricane bracket and you drill a hole on the top of the skeleton, as you guys can see. So there's a hole on the top scoring through the skeleton, and then there's a bolt going through the hurricane bracket with what they call I think it's a U-clip or a C-clip. And basically what happened is you put the bracket in there and then the skeleton sits on top of the dash. And the thing is, as you're tightening this, it clamps down on here. Now, some people would take the gauge and they would like zip tie it to the skeleton. The thing is, this doesn't work with this gauge because this is the X model gauge, so it's a little shallow. So basically what I did to secure this, because again, I do not want this permanent. I don't want to super glue it, none of that. The only thing I super glued again was this ring, because again, the ring is not ever gonna come off, and then like we need that. So I took electrical tape and I basically wrapped it, as you guys can see, I wrapped it around this gauge multiple times so that it would kind of like expand the diameter of the actual gauge itself. And what we did was we put it in here, and because of the fact that it's so thick, as you're tightening down the skeleton, it clamps down on this gauge, allowing it not to move. And that's how we are securing it. So it looks something like that. And then we take one of the top hats and we put it on. See if I can find the right spot. Wait for it. It'll probably, yeah, there we go. And it looks exactly like that. So it literally looks stock, guys. Literally. That's basically what we did. So again, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go ahead and wire these gauges up. So again, we have an AFR gauge, boost gauge, and an oil temperature gauge. So how I'm gonna set them up is I'll put the temperature gauge right here for the oil, I'll put the boost gauge, and then I'll put the AFR gauge right here. Okay, so here we have it. We have, again, oil temps, boost gauge, and AFR. These are the harnesses that go into each gauge. Now the cool thing about it is this is not complicated at all. All we have to do is hook up power and ground. And when I say power, I mean switch power and ground. Now the cool thing is we did utilize this harness. So in this factory harness, all we need is black for ground and orange for switch power. So what we do is we just plug it up to the original harness right here, and that's it. And then of course we have our wires down here for each sensor. And that's pretty much it. It's not really that complicated. And the only reason why it's like that is because it's a harness and we have set switches. It'd be different like we were doing like a swap where we're putting like an LS in here or like a 2JZ or like a RB, then I think it'd be a little bit different. AEM is also pretty cool because they have like CAN wires in here to hook up to their like their standalones and stuff. So I think that's pretty cool. But in our sense, it's pretty simple. Just power, ground to the gauges, and then just run each harness to the sensors, and that's pretty much it. Okay, so yesterday was a big fail. I actually had to go and purchase some fittings. So basically what happened is this is the old oil temperature sensor, and this is the new one I plugged into the gauge, right? The threads on here was too big for this to fit in. And then this comes with an adapter, but that was too big to thread onto the block where this threads in. So I had to go buy an adapter to plug into the block to plug into here. So everything else is done. So we got the boost gauge done, we have the AFR gauge done, the connectors down there. All we have to do is just extend, which I had to extend the wires for the temperature gauge right over here. All I have to do is connect the wires to the gauge, install these fittings, and be done with the gauge install. So everything's on, gauges are on, sensors are on, so we're gonna go and test it again. You guys know the battery's shot on this car, so we gotta use this power pack.
Clutch.
Turn it on. And let's test and see if everything works. Is it on? You sure? Yes. Alright, we got the keys.
I'm about to break that.
Ooh, I was about to press the clutch in.
Told you.
That would have been terrible. That thing would have started and poof. Alright, here we go.
Hey. Hey.
There we go.
Hold on.
It's gonna keep clicking, yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't know why it's doing that. Let's see if this stays on this time. So it like thinks.
That's it.
Doesn't say censored.
Yeah, everything's good.
What's going on here? RCD show.
I know, for real. I wouldn't imagine I had to read what it's supposed to, because obviously like the
Car's not on.
yeah, converter. Boost, so again we have the oil temp gauge, boost gauge, and then AFR over here. Yeah, I finally figured out that.
What did it say? Boot? Well, we got 0.9 right now, man.
So the cool thing about these gauges too is it has a auto dimming built into the gauges. So at night it'll dim, and then during the day, yeah, it'll get a little brighter.
Right.
Dang, that's sick. It's crazy. I think
it wasn't even that hard. People online make it seem a lot harder than it really is.
Yeah, it wasn't really that hard, guys. Honestly,
Hardest part is
breaking it. Yeah,
breaking it.
It really wasn't that hard. I think we officially got a race car now, huh? And just like that, we are done with the gauge install. That was literally the last big thing that we had to install, guys. This car, for the most part, is ready for the base tune, so we can start it, put some oil in it. Of course, put oil in it before we start it. We got to put coolant in it, power steering fluid in it, make sure that it runs good, there's no leaks, and then it'll be ready for dyno day next month in April. Again, it's going to be the end of April. I believe it's the 26th that we're going to be dynoing this car in the Bay Area. So there's just two like little small things we have to do. One, we're still waiting on a correct pipe from Gonzo. But I did order just a coupler for the meantime, just so we can get the car started. So who knows how long that fool's going to take. And then we do have to cut the actual radiator support so we can fit this pipe, and this pipe is what connects the turbo to the intercooler. And again, it's kind of have to cut the plastic right there so we can put this pipe through. But that's pretty much it. That is all that is left to do. Either the next video or the video after that would be of us starting this car. Thank you guys for watching. As always, I will catch you in the next one. Peace out, stay safe, and stay tuned.
No flex, I done dropped a couple bands on it brand new Rolex. I can pop a couple bands on you, girl, you know that. Once she get the poppin', I like way to go. We gon' get it poppin' on the radio. Turned out, now